Why do some people seem to pick up new skills in weeks while the rest of us grind for months and barely move? For a long time, I assumed it came down to talent. Then I spent several weeks pulling apart research on memory, attention, and performance, reading up on how top neuroscientists describe focus, how a famous physicist tested his own understanding, how memory scientists study forgetting, and how one of the most prolific inventors in history treated failure. And what I found flipped my whole idea of studying upside down. The people who learn fastest aren't smarter. They're not working harder in the way you'd expect either. They've just stumbled onto a handful of principles that most of us were never taught. In this video, I'm going to walk through 4 of those principles and show you how they fit together into one system. Why your brain throws away almost everything you try to learn. Why constant review might actually be wasting your time. Why getting things wrong on purpose can speed you up. And the one idea that quietly ties the whole thing together. Ever finish a page of reading and realize you can't recall a single sentence of it? It's frustrating. It's easy to conclude you just don't have a good memory or that you're not smart enough, but that's not really what's happening. Your brain is under constant siege from information, sounds, sights, half-finished thoughts, notifications, background noise, and if it tried to hold on to all of it, you'd be paralyzed by the sheer volume, so it runs a filter. For every piece of information that comes in, it quietly asks, is this going to matter? If the answer looks like no, it gets tossed. Attention researchers describe focus almost like a spotlight. Whatever you point it at with real intensity is what gets tagged as worth keeping. Everything else fades, which means the real skill in learning isn't cramming harder, it's convincing your own brain that what you're looking at deserves to stay. Here's where most people sabotage themselves without noticing: phone buzzing nearby, a playlist with lyrics running in the background, 4 browser tabs open just in case. Under those conditions, your brain has no way to tell what's actually important because you signaled that everything is. 30 minutes of study with 0 distractions will outperform 3 hours of half attention every single time. Try it once, 1 task, 1 screen, 30 minutes, nothing else, and notice how different it feels. This completely changed how I study. For years, if I forgot something 2 days after reading it, I treated that as proof I'd wasted my time, so I'd go back and reread the whole thing from scratch. It turns out that's one of the slowest ways to learn. More than 100 years ago, a psychologist charted how quickly new information fades if it's never revisited, what's now called the forgetting curve. The unsettling part is how fast it drops, but there's a reframe here that changes everything. Forgetting isn't your brain malfunctioning, it's your brain checking in, asking, do you still need this? Every time you force yourself to recall something rather than just look it up again, you're answering yes, and that answer is what makes the memory stick. This is why so much memory research keeps landing on the same conclusion. Retrieval practice, trying to recall information without looking, is one of the most effective ways to strengthen learning. Close the book, take a blank page, and write down everything you remember. You will struggle, and that's good. The struggle isn't a sign you're failing, it's a sign your brain is building stronger connections. It's like going to the gym. Lifting an empty bar forever feels easy, but your muscles never grow. Your memory works the same way. The effort is the exercise. If you can't break a concept down into plain language, you don't actually understand it, you've just gotten used to how it sounds. That's the trap. Familiarity feels like understanding, but it isn't the same thing. You reread a paragraph enough times that it sounds right, and your brain concludes you've got it, even when you don't. The fix is simple and uncomfortable. After you learn something, close the notes and explain it out loud in your own words, as if teaching someone with 0 background, not to impress anyone, to close the gaps. Because every time you get stuck, you found the exact place your understanding ends, and that's incredibly valuable. Most people avoid finding those gaps because it feels uncomfortable. Fast learners hunt for them. And here's the part that surprised me most in all this research. The fastest learners don't avoid mistakes. They actively create them. When people think of history's great inventors, they picture genius and innovation, but one of the most productive habits behind a lot of historic invention wasn't raw intelligence, it was experimentation, a willingness to be wrong constantly and not take it personally. Every failed experiment wasn't proof of a lack of talent, it was information. Psychologists who study elite performers have found that experts spend the bulk of their practice time working just beyond their current ability, not repeating what they already know. Growth doesn't happen inside your comfort zone, it happens at its edge. So the next time you mess something up while learning, skip the question, why am I bad at this? And ask instead, what is this mistake trying to teach me? That single shift in framing can change how fast everything else improves. So let's put it all together. Your brain remembers what you truly pay attention to. It grows stronger when you retrieve information instead of rereading it. It deepens when you explain ideas simply. And mistakes aren't proof you're failing, they're proof you're learning. But after pulling all of this together, I realized something. None of it matters if you keep practicing the same way. Picture two people learning guitar. One plays 3 hours a day, the other 1 hour. A year from now, who's better? Most people would guess whoever put in more hours, but that's not guaranteed because there's a real difference between repetition and deliberate practice. The average person practices until they get something right and moves on. The ones who improve fastest practice until they can't get it wrong anymore. Lifting the same weight the same way every week gives your body no reason to change. Your brain is no different. It only grows when you're pushed just beyond what feels comfortable. A year from now, someone will have already mastered the skill you're only dreaming about today. The question is whether you'll be wondering how they did it, or whether you'll be the one everyone else is trying to catch.